In today's video, I'll be going over my top 20 most favorite LEGO Star Wars sets that have ever been created. Let's talk about it. So guys, welcome back everyone to another LEGO Star Wars video. In today's video, I want to do a fun little one right here. I kind of let you guys get to know me a little bit more, I guess, and this will be my top 20 favorite LEGO Star Wars sets. So a lot of people always ask me, what's your top 5, what's your top 3, what's your favorite, what's your top 10, but I figured I'd do a top 20 today to really kind of be able to make, get the obvious ones in there, but also have quite a few kind of obscure ones I feel in there. Again, my top 5 will probably be pretty obvious, but the 6 through 20 spots will probably have some ones in there that you weren't expecting. But nonetheless, guys, of course, this will be a pretty long video. I'm going to try to kind of cut to the chase. Really quickly, this list has a mixture of sets that I really do like, sets that I have owned, sets that I have not owned yet that I think I will really enjoy, some nostalgic sets, and just overall fundamental staples for the LEGO Star Wars brand, I feel. But with all that being said, guys, let's get into number 20. Alright guys, so starting off number 20 right here with a nostalgic set. This is probably a set that I would not have on my list if it weren't for it being nostalgic to me, being the 2008 7669 Anakin's Jedi Starfighter. If you guys watched my Q&A video from a couple days ago, this was actually my first LEGO Star Wars set ever. I bought this one and then either a Clone Walker battle pack or an Assassin Droid battle pack. I don't exactly remember which battle pack it was, but I did definitely buy this in that transaction. So this is basically the set I count as my first LEGO Star Wars set ever. I personally really do like it. Of course, Anakin is my favorite Star Wars character ever. The ship itself, sure, subjectively is probably worse than the 2018 one, the remake, but nonetheless, my first LEGO Star Wars set had to make the list at some point, and let's move on to the next one. Alright guys, next up we actually have another nostalgic set. This one means probably a little bit more to me just because this was a set I bought in the downtown Chicago LEGO store back in 2008, that being the 7671 AT-AT Walker. So this was one where, just getting into LEGO, and realistically, before my parents got divorced, it was pretty much the only time that us three actually went to a LEGO store. We took a trip downtown Chicago, and this was the set that they picked up for me from that LEGO store. And, of course, it only lasted a little bit. I was very young back then, only being like 7 years old, and that thing only lasted probably about 2 or 3 months before it got broken in the bins. I've been trying to kind of get one. I'm probably just gonna get one to keep sealed eventually. I probably don't really need to build one ever again, but since I've got the 2014 one built. But nonetheless, guys, that's basically why it's that. Very nostalgic set. Basically, kind of a set that just means a lot to me, and it was definitely a fan favorite back then. And with all that being said, guys, let's move on to the next couple. All right, guys. So the next couple right here, I'm gonna actually pair up 17 and 18. These are both 2014 battle packs. Again, I had to kind of put these on the list. I feel like these are fundamentals for, the LEGO Star Wars brand, being the Utapau Trooper battle pack and the Kashyyyk Trooper battle pack. I feel like, these just have to have a place on my list, for what they mean. Great battle packs, of course. I bought quite a few back then, and it was definitely kind of, I feel like, the turning point for, I don't know, I feel like just 2014 was definitely a turning point in LEGO Star Wars as a whole, and 2014 was probably that last good LEGO Star Wars year we've ever gotten, in my opinion, again, all my opinion. But, I like those battle packs. Not the, I definitely feel like, subjectively, they probably are the greatest battle packs of all time because they're so easy to army build with, but nothing too much more to them than that. I don't want to give them too much credit. They are just little simple battle packs. Not too much thought went into it. Again, LEGO literally just had to put those clone troopers in there, and they would have sold them regardless. So I don't really feel like putting those above some of these other sets is really fair, because I feel like some of these other sets have a lot more substance to them. But with all that being said, guys, let's move on to 16. All right, guys, so number 16 is probably a very surprising one to you guys, and this is one that I probably don't see on anyone else's top 20 list ever, being the 2011 7962 Anakin and Sebulba's Pod Racer. So ever since that set came out back in 2011, so my story was I bought that pretty much day one, or my dad did for me. Of course, I was 10 years old at the time. My dad bought that for me, I believe, for Christmas, and basically what I said at that point, I loved it at that point, but also within like a week I didn't build it, and my dad was kind of like, hey, do you really actually like this? Back then I said no, and I'm like, hey, look, can we return this and get another 2010 turbo tank, which I did at that point. That's how I have 2 of those. Very happy I did that back then, of course, because of course nowadays, the Sebulba's Pod Racer is a lot more cheap than the clone turbo tank to get a second one of. But so I returned that one. I recently rebought that about 2 years ago. I bought a used copy, very good condition, for like, I'm not even kidding, I think it was like 35 bucks shipped for both of them, the entire set complete with minifigures. And my thought on this, guys, again, I'm a big prequel guy. I absolutely love the prequels. I love anything Anakin related. I've actually, this, out of all the sets I have displayed right now, a lot of my collection is torn apart. I'm meant to, clean up and rebuild eventually. But I do have both those pod racers over there. And here's kind of my three things going with it. Of course, it's got Anakin's pod racer in there. I love that. Big fan of Anakin. Also, just the scale of the set. If you guys have the set in person, it is a lot bigger than it probably should be. You get what I'm saying? But in a good way. Again, I like these bigger Star Wars sets where, who is really ever going to use those in a mock? There's really no point of. And, minifigure scale or not, who really cares on a lot of these sets? So I like the scale of it. I like how it's, a little bit bigger than it probably should be. And just overall kind of gives me good vibes. For what it's worth, having orange and yellow on a Star Wars set compared to the regular, black, light, and dark gray. Overall, I really do like it. I'm a big fan of it, and I can confidently say it is definitely my top 20 and will, probably always be in my top 20. But there's that, guys. Let's move on to the next one. All right, so the next one right here, guys, number 15, is kind of a wild card in my opinion. This will really all come down to the fact of when I actually get this set in person eventually. I don't know if I'll actually like it as much as I kind of feel I do. That being the 2007 7664, the TIE Crawler. So, this is definitely a weird one. Again, a lot of you guys are probably thinking right now, what is this guy talking about? But in my opinion, I feel like this is just another really cool Lego Star Wars set that's very obscure, looks very cool, and just a really cool concept. And I'm kind of glad that, Lego took some of their own creative liberties and made this set. I believe this set was an expanded universe back in the day, but, really has not shown up in anything else since. Very obscure vehicle. No one really probably cares about it, but that's what I like about it. I like the fact, back then, I can only imagine, imagine like 2009, before they started doing the recolors of the TIE fighters, having like the TIE Crawler, TIE Bomber, the original TIE Fighter, TIE Interceptor, like all those in like the blue and the black colorway. I can only imagine. And like the TIE Drone, like out of the Ultimate TIE Fighter collection set, I can only imagine. That's something I definitely dream of having eventually. I would love to have all those nice blue TIE Fighters out. And overall, guys, again, it all comes down to once I actually get the set in person, which I'm actually looking on eBay and stuff really recently. I'm trying to get a good deal on one, and probably will be my next retired set I buy. And we'll have to see, guys, if it still makes my top 20 when I do end up building it. I'll let you guys know. All right, number 14, guys, moving into the first UCS set right here, we have the 2010 10215 UCS Kenobi Starfighter. So again, guys, you guys will kind of see a pattern in this video. You guys know me, I'm a big prequel fan. Again, and the fact that Lego really caters towards the original trilogy a lot more, I feel like I'm even more appreciative of, of a lot of the prequel sets that they actually come out with. Of course, it was a lot more so back then, when the prequels were first coming out, when the Clone Wars was first coming out. So, this set right here, I really wish I got it back in the day, but, Kenobi Starfighter UCS, one of the only, Lego Star Wars prequel, sets ever, UCS ones. And, yeah, this is one I definitely need in my collection. I should have bought it before the Kenobi show. I had a lot of opportunities to buy it. I always kind of would say in my Instagram story, hey, if you have this set for sale, let me know. And I think at one point, I want to say someone offered one to me, 100% complete, even with the brand new, I believe there's like 1 or 2 stickers in that set on a brand new sticker sheet for like 190 bucks or whatever. And I should have snagged that. I mean, that was a hell of a deal. I should have bought that. I should have built it because, so with all that being said, guys, there's that one. Let's move on to the next one. Our number 13, guys, we're moving on to the 2014 75053, the Ghost. So I got to show, Rebels a little, respect here. Back in the day, of course, when it was first coming out, I was not the biggest fan of it. If you guys remember, I would say on this channel, my Instagram, hey, like, what are we doing? I'm not a big fan of it. I really didn't even watch, I think, season 3 and 4 when they were airing. I didn't even watch, I definitely did not watch season 4 until just like a year ago when I did like a big rewatch. And I got to be honest, looking back, Rebels was a very good show. Season 1, a little lackluster, a little weird, a little childish, but once the season 2 mid-season premiere happened, I believe like episode 8 or whatever, and then moving on to seasons 3 and 4, it was a very good show, very adult-like, very Clone Wars orientated, and the Ghost is a very good representation of that, of the actual show. Very accurate, very good minifigure selection, and of course, a little biased in my opinion too, since I was able to pull out a black hair Kanan, so I gotta love that set just a little extra. But there's that, guys. Let's get on to the next one. All right, number 12, guys, we have the 2009 8039, the Republic class Venator right here. This is a set that I've actually got in my backlog right now to build. I got a very good deal on a used copy one. I think I got to wash it up beforehand. I'll wash it, I'll build it. I was planning on doing it on a live stream at some point, but I definitely want to build it pretty soon here because I feel like out of all the older style, kind of bigger Republic vehicles, this is one where a lot of people I've been hearing recently are saying, hey, look, it's not really a good set. Like, it really is, rose tinted goggles on this this set. Realistically looking back at it, it was pretty poorly built back then, doesn't look too good, doesn't hold up to, today's standards. So I want to kind of be the judge of that for myself. I want to build this used copy here pretty soon, wash it up and make it look nice, and truly see, hey, look, is this actually comparable to, say, a 2010 turbo tank or the dropship and ATOT? So I'm curious. I want to build it here pretty soon. I'll let you guys know, but there's my number 12. It definitely deserved a spot somewhere on this list, at least now, but again, it could always maybe go off the list once I actually build it. But there's that, guys. Let's move on to the next one. All right, next up, guys, we've got number 11 with actually the newest Lego Star Wars set on this list. If that tells you anything, it just proves that, a lot of this newer stuff I'm not really, vibing with. But we got the 2019 75252 UCS Imperial Star Destroyer. So this is one that I got back last year in, I believe, like March or so. I got it from Coconut Brick Studios, got a very good deal on it. He actually had 2 copies of it, sold me his, his second one. And I was actually doing a live stream build series of it. A lot of you guys probably came from that. That series did really, really well. I believe it was like 8 episodes or so. A lot of viewership, a lot of good times there, a lot of fun times, met a lot of people. And, so in one regard, look, very nostalgic to me. That's definitely probably one of my favorite sets I've ever built in my lifetime, like just due to what it was. It was literally like 30 or 40 hours of live stream building, talking with a whole bunch of people, dozens of people in the chat, having a very, very good time. Got a good deal on it to begin with, of course. And overall, just a very nice experience for my Lego Star Wars hobby. But even then, I've got the set built right across from me. That's why I'm looking over that way. And every time I look at that thing, I'm like, wow, they did a great job on this. Truthfully, for what it's worth, I don't have too many UCS sets built right now, let alone ever. I've actually only ever built, I believe, 5 of them, I think. I've got 2 built right. I've got 3 built right now. The TIE Fighter, Republic gunship, and then the Star Destroyer. And the Star Destroyer just blows it all out of the water. I love looking at that thing, and that thing will definitely be displayed somewhere like in my living room when I move out. So there's number 11, guys, and let's move into the top 10. All right, guys, next up with number 10, moving on to the big ones right here, guys. We got number 10 right here. This is one that actually, I'm not going to lie, now that I've gotten up to this point, I kind of regret even putting on this list, at least this high, being the 10123, the Cloud City from 2003. This one, look, I put it on here initially really for kind of what it means for the LEGO Star Wars community, but the more so I thought about it is... I don't know. The more I think about it, I really don't care about the set, honestly. So I think, if anything, look, maybe put this one down below, maybe like in the 17 spot, and push everything, else up a little bit, because the more I think about this, really, the set has nothing going for it. Grand scheme of things, it means a lot to the community. The minifigures are cool and everything, but I feel like, too, in a certain aspect, it's maybe a negative towards the community. I don't know. It's tough to explain. I don't really want to get too much into it, but the more I kind of think about it, actually, let's get this thing a little bit lower. If anything, maybe this thing actually off the list. It could be a little bit, on it. So honestly, like I said, the more I think about it, let's get this thing a little bit lower on the list, if not actually totally off the list. And, yeah, so there's that, guys. Supposed to be my number 10, but realistically probably more so maybe my number 17. But let's move. Well, that being said, guys, let's move on to my top 9 of actual stuff I really do appreciate and really do love. All right, guys, so moving on to number 9, we have the 2009 8014 Clone Walker Battle Pack. So this one right here, unlike the other Battle Packs mentioned earlier, I could truthfully kind of say I have a very good nostalgic point for this set. And in my opinion, kind of more of a more fundamental Battle Pack. I don't know, for what it's worth, Utapau Troopers are cool, Kashyyyk Troopers are cool, but I like the fact that this Battle Pack had just plain white clones. A lot more versatile, and overall just kind of for what it meant back in the day. Again, I started my channel in 2013, but I've been watching LEGO Star Wars YouTube since 2008. Everyone building armies of these, myself included. I've actually got all the empty boxes of this battle pack upstairs in my closet, my actual bedroom closet, and I believe I've got like 17 of them. So I got quite a few of them back in the day. I've got one sealed copy now, and this is definitely one where, thinking back, guys, imagine that, $9.99 per battle pack. So literally nowadays we could get 100 of them for $1,000. I mean, sure, not everyone's rich. $1,000 is still a lot of money, but compared to what it was, say 10 years ago to some of us when we were only like 10 years old, now, quite frankly, I could go to the Lego store and buy 100 of them at $1,000, kind of like nothing. And it's just kind of crazy to think that, like, damn, I could get 400 clone troopers, more than really almost anyone had back in the day. And, all of us could get it just so easily now. So it's crazy to think about, guys. Such a great deal, such a classic set. And there's number 9. All right, moving on to number 8, guys, which this is actually one that probably really surprises everyone. Honestly, it even kind of surprises me, but the more I thought about it, I mean, truthfully, I don't really care about this ship as much as I once did. That being the 2013 75021 Republic gunship. So, a little spoiler alert, I'll be honest right here. This is the only gunship on my list. I don't have the 2008 one on my list. I sure as, hell don't have the 2002 one on my list, but because this is the only one I've ever owned, actually. I did not own the 2008 one. I didn't own the previous first one. And, looking back, I'll be honest with you, as I feel like the gunship itself is kind of an overrated set. Any of them, even the UCS one, I appreciate what it is. I think they're beautiful, ships in the universe, and actually, Lego does a really good job on them. But there's a lot more sets on my list right here, which I think are just a lot more, again, fundamental to the Lego Star Wars community and a lot more unique, I feel. So there's number 8, guys, and let's move on to number 7. All right, guys, number 7 right here, we actually have the 2008 7675 ATTE Walker. So, very nostalgic for me as well. I'll put a picture up on the screen. I got this for my 2008, I believe, birthday or Christmas, I think, or maybe it was 2009. I'm not too sure. That's the date in the bottom corner. But, but of course, nonetheless, this was my biggest Lego Star Wars set I owned at the time. Back then, even my parents even told me, I feel like it was almost everyone's kind of debacle back in the day, 2008 Christmas time, your parents would say, hey, look, do you want the gunship or the ATT? Like, I feel like it was two different people that grew up. Which one did you get back then when you had that choice? And I, of course, went with the ATTE. Looking back, I'm not going to say I regret it. I'm not going to say that, but I wish I would have been able to get both of them, of course. But and actually, I actually own 4 of this ATTE Walker right now. I've been able to accumulate a whole bunch over the years. I get them for pretty cheap. I've actually got 4 of this one, and very excited about it. I love the set. Again, I think overall, I'm not going to lie. I think, of course, in the newer ATTEs, probably look better and are functionally better, but this one is the biggest one. Again, something about me just liking the bigger Lego Star Wars sets. You guys will kind of see that trend, for the rest of this video. But, I like how this one is the biggest out of all of them, and, personally means a lot to me. But let's move on to the next one. All right, guys, so number 6, we have the 2012 9526 Palpatine's Arrest, and I was actually just talking about this in a video the other day, actually I believe yesterday, and this one right here is just a fan favorite. I love this scene from the movie. I love what Lego did. Another obscure Lego Star Wars set that just means a lot. I don't know, I think just Lego is really knocking it out of the park with a lot of these, late 2000s, early 2010 sets. All the minifigures are beautiful. I personally have never owned this set yet. This is another one that I would love to be able to build a copy of, so I'm going to probably try to get a used copy here pretty soon. Now, I even kind of told myself, though, getting a sealed copy of this in the box and, building it that way will probably, first off, of course, be a better building experience. And second off, if I keep those minifigures in really good condition, the minifigures are worth hundreds of dollars just as is. So there's that, guys. Let's move on to my top 5. All right, guys, so coming into 5th place here, we actually have another one that I brought up the other day, being the 2015 75060 UCS Slave 1. Hey, guys, on that video, I've actually got one over there on my shelf sealed in the box. I bought it back in the day. A set that probably the hardest one in my collection right now to not just go over there and crack it open and build it up tonight. I would love to be able to build that thing. I might even do it eventually. Who knows? Quite frankly, I might honestly open that one up at some point, maybe build it for a nice little live stream series, and see what happens out of that, because that, I love it. I love the Slave one as is. I think they did a great job on that. They need to make a Jango Fett in that size, because that one would be even more beautiful probably, but nonetheless, my top 5 right here, and probably the hardest set I've ever had to keep sealed for the past 7 years. All right, moving on to number 4, guys, we have the 2007 7662, the Trade Federation MTT. Again, pretty obvious at this point. I actually own one of these, beautiful set. 2 things going for it. I think it's the best MTT as is. Coming out from a very good time era of Lego Star Wars. If you actually look at the actual fundamental of it, $100 back in 2007 for, literally I think it was, 1,200 pieces. Like 26 battle droids. Like, that's just unreal what Lego was able to do back in the day. Imagine getting that at Walmart for like 20% off, $80 back then for that. I mean, that is literally, you're literally robbing Lego with how much stuff you get in that set. So, of course, as always, this is the biggest one, the largest size, nice kind of upsize, probably by 20%, Lego Star Wars set. I love the scale they used to do with these, and, something they just don't do anymore. Everything's getting smaller and smaller, but there's my number 4 pick, guys. All right, guys, so moving into my number 3, I can definitely tell I'm kind of losing my voice all of a sudden for some reason. I don't know if I'm getting sick. I was kind of sick over the weekend a little bit, so I don't know. I might be getting sick right here, but I'm going to try to keep this going pretty quick for these last 3 because I can definitely tell I'm losing my voice. So right here, guys, we have the 2010 8098, the Clone Turbo Tank. And this one right here, beautiful set. I've actually got 2 of them. I kind of said the story about it a little bit earlier, but, you know, overall great set. I'm glad I have 2 of them. You know, when I think of, you know, Lego Star Wars, the Clone Wars, I think of the Turbo Tank first, and there's pretty much why it's my number 3. And, you know, of course, the best turbo tank out of them all, the largest, you know, size one, and just overall, I think the best one. And there's my 3rd pick. All right, guys, number 2 is actually a set that I built recently, and it definitely lived up to the hype. So we have the 10195, the 2009 ATOT with a public dropship. Of course, this was a huge one over the past, you know, 10 years. A lot of people always wanted this one. You know, this is kind of the flagship Clone Wars set back in the day. And, you know, it took me about, you know, literally 12 years to actually own one. I was able to get one at Brick World this year for a really good deal, $699 for 100% complete. Just had to wash it up. I did a live stream build series of it. I believe it took me 3 live streams, and I was able to get it knocked out. And believe me, when I built it, it knocked it out, you know, it knocked all my expectations out of the water. You know, I really do like it. It lives up to the hype, I feel. Great deal back in the day, of course, you know, $250 for, you know, 2 large-scale Republic vehicles and all those clone troopers. So, you know, for what it means for Lego Star Wars, you know, for being the flagship Clone Wars set, and, you know, honestly, one of those sets that lived up to the hype while building it, I got to give it my number 2 spot. And then moving on, guys, to the infamous number 1 right here. This one has been my number 1 for probably the past, like, 10 years, I'm not going to lie. I've wanted this set for so long. This was on my 2016 Christmas list, my 2017 Christmas list, my 2018 Christmas, like, every Christmas list. Like, I just need this set. I don't know why I don't have it yet. I will forever regret not buying it, you know, at retail, let alone at, like, say, $300, because that is the 2010 10212 UCS Imperial Shuttle. So this guy right here, you know, honestly, for being an original trilogy set, you know, I love the Imperial Shuttle. I've actually got the smaller 2014 one on display over there, and this one, I can only imagine that set right there, how much I love that thing on display with the wings out, and, you know, compare it to a one that, you know, 4x the pieces, and see that thing over there, because this thing's beautiful. The only downside is, you know, even though I want to build one of these, I need to get a sealed in the box copy of it to just be able to build it, you know, keep it right, you know, keep it away from the sun. You know, it's all white pieces on the outside, so I don't want them any of the pieces to be sun faded. So that's really the downside here, because they're going for a pretty penny right now. If any of you guys have a sealed UCS Imperial Shuttle, you guys want to sell to me for a good deal, please hit me up. I would love to buy it. I would buy it in a heartbeat. I'll definitely do a live stream series building it, and there's basically that, guys. I mean, I would love to see if that thing lives up to the hype. I have a feeling it will, but of course, who knows, guys? Quite frankly, this time next year, say I have it built at that point, it might not be my number 1 anymore, but it's definitely been my number 1 for the past 7 or 8 years, guys. But all that being said, that is the list. I'm losing my voice, and let's close up the video, guys. Alright, guys, so that's everything for this video. Like I said, I'm kind of losing my voice. Hopefully it doesn't last for too long. Hopefully I'll be able to film video for the next couple days, but I'm definitely losing it now. And that's all for this video, guys. Be sure to leave your thoughts down below. Do any of these surprise you? You know, do you think that I should actually have a different one on my list at any point? Leave your top couple sets down below. Leave maybe your favorite, like, underrated set, like kind of like the TIE Crawler for me. Like, what is kind of like your guilty pleasure favorite Lego Star Wars set, if that makes sense. But with all that being said, guys, that's all for this video. Please remember to comment and subscribe. Stay tuned for you guys later. Bye, guys, and stay safe.